Welcome to Blue Talks.
Excuse me. I'm Jeremiah, and I'm here to give you a presentation on the power of dreams. I want to give you a little bit of background about myself before we get started. I started writing my book at 14 years old. I've known my life path since I was just a little kid, and I started writing my first book at 14 years old. Before I got out of high school, I opened my first center, and Mile High Dream Institute. And there I had a flotation tank, and I was able to do massage and teach healing, as well as do meditation and visualization with people. But my main focus was on lucid dreaming. And if you don't know what the flotation tank is, it's sensory deprivation. It's rest, restricted environmental stimuli therapy. And that's where you take away light, sound, gravity, and temperature. It gives a perfect environment for healing, for being able to visualize, but the most important is it brings back a state of natural homeostasis, which we all seem to forget when we get into fast-paced living and we're all stressed out, how powerful being in our natural ability to be able to relax. And so what we're going to go over today is mainly about the power of lucid dreaming and what it brings to you. There's two different ways that you can get to the dream world. One is where you do it through mnemonic lucid dreaming. Mnemonic lucid dreaming is where you basically have a dream and something within the dream is a dream sign, so a reoccurring event, thought, feeling, or circumstance, which we all have. If you record maybe 10 dreams, you will have a reoccurring event, thought, feeling, or circumstance. And with those, you go ahead and do a practice over about 30 days, and you'll be able to start waking up within your dreams. That was developed by Stephen LaBerge, who is a scientist that proved lucid dreaming exists. So the other way that we get to the dream world is through dream yoga, which is a process of meditation. And when you go into the dream, lucid dreaming is where you're aware that you're dreaming while the dream is happening. So when you know that you're dreaming while the dream is happening, that's the moment that you actually become lucid. There's different levels of lucid dreaming. There's semi-lucid dream, when you just barely know that you're dreaming and you're pulled along by the dream. And that sometimes can be a little bit scary because you know that you're dreaming and you don't have any control. But when you have a regular lucid dream, you know that you're dreaming 100% and you are having full control. So you can decide to do whatever it is that you want. If you want to fly to space, you want to go underwater, you want to go visit people that you haven't seen, you want to confront a nightmare, you can basically do whatever that you want. But awareness plus intention is what equals control in basically anything. So a high lucid dream is when you know that you're dreaming and you have your intention intact. If you have your intention intact, then it gives you enough control that you can actually go and accomplish it. I had a brain injury, a car accident, and I had to take my flotation tank home. I couldn't run my business anymore. I was pretty injured. I lost my ability to lucid dream, lost my ability to do all kinds of meditation, but I was very persistent and I used the flotation tank daily. Over a little bit of time, I was able to get my abilities back to have lucid dreams. And at that point, I was able to do high lucid dreams by coming out of my body. I would fly around, I would find myself, and I would pass energy through my body and into my spine. I would also do physical activities in the dream as much as possible, running, jumping, flying, whatever I could. So when I woke up, I would be in a state of super exhilaration, excitement, and most important, try to have experiences that had to do a lot with unconditional love and happiness. And you know, when you practice these things, one of the awesome thing is that you can go into the dream, and you can also do this in meditation, and it works the same. And when you do that, you can have an experience that you absolutely amazing that you could never really do here. And you come back and you wake up and you're very excited and you're like super, super jazzed. And then you start your day. And so that's a very powerful practice to be able to do that in the dream. But like I said, the way that you get there is through either a mnemonic practice of trigger of a memory development, which anybody can do. It's not a big deal. If you do 30 days of writing down your dream signs and asking yourself if you're dreaming, when things remind you of the dream, you'll start to have experiences. You have to have some dream recall first, but you will start having experiences. One of the more powerful ways is through dream yoga. And the reason that is because when you move from this state to the dream state without losing consciousness, you carry your intention with you. So you're basically moving from here into the dream fully conscious without losing consciousness. So you don't have to remember that you're dreaming and then remember your intention. You carry it with you. And when you have your intention intact, you have more control. Then you can go and do it, like for example, when I would fly and come back to my body and put the energy healing into myself, then I would tell myself that I wanted to wake up. And at that point you wake up, you remember everything. And these dreams will stay with you for years and years, especially if you do it that way. Very important to write them down. One of the things that I want to portray is how easy this really is. Now, this is something that's very natural. Very natural. We all dream. We all have to dream. And if you look at, you'll see the stages of sleep. And basically, we all do this. We start out in a very waking stage, which is beta. And that's where we're very attent. We're maybe studying, very in a place of fear. We're also, beta is attached to stress. But it's like if you're in school and you're studying, you're using a lot of beta. You're awake. And when you start to fall asleep a little bit, you get into alpha, and in alpha you're kind of getting relaxed. You have a lot of art. Art comes from the alpha state, and then you can move a little bit more into theta. And theta is like that doorway, very important spot, doorway between here and the dream world. You get with hypnagogic imagery. It's little dreamlets that come up. So everybody experiences this, regardless. You've had an experience, especially with theta. As you're falling asleep, you might get a few REM jolts where your body kind of shakes. You pass through your first REM cycle and you go into delta. In delta, you're completely relaxed. This is where we do our healing and our rejuvenation. It's where we get our growth hormones, and a lot of times we grow. When we're kids, we sleep more, so we have more time to do this. But you move back up and you go back up from delta and you move back through your first actual REM stage. Rapid eye movement is the place where you're actually dreaming. When you're in rapid eye movement, that's the place that you are paralyzed. Your body's actually paralyzed. And your eyes move and your sexual organs are active. Those are the only things. Otherwise, you would walk around and sleepwalk if you weren't. Then you go back up and you hit theta and you go back up to the top. You wake up for a brief second and you come back down and you do that. It's a cycle. So if you see the purple represents the REM and the white is the stages of sleep, they switch over time. So after an 8-hour sleep, your cycles in between are 15 minutes and your REM cycle becomes almost an hour. And that's why when we're kids, we have more experiences with dreams, because we're sleeping longer. And so you could be dreaming up to an hour and have 15 minutes in between after an 8-hour sleep. So what this tells us is if you're sleeping up to 8 hours a day all your life, you live to 100, you could have 25 years of dreaming. Or you could have 10 years of dreaming. But basically, it's something that we all have to do. If you're not doing it, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have mental problems. So everybody does it. It's natural, and it's very powerful. You know, the one thing that not want to take for granted is how powerful is some of this stuff, and is our thoughts and emotions, do they actually affect our reality? Do they affect what happens to us? Do they affect our body? And it's been 100% proven that it doesn't matter whether you do something in sleep or whether you do it in a dream, you do it in a visualization, or you do it in meditation. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your brain doesn't know the difference at all. So it's really important to understand that you can create states of consciousness in a lucid dream and have an amazing experience, and your body and brain doesn't know the difference. And so that brings us to, we all know Dr. Emoto, who does the crystallize of the water, and if you meditate on the water, you can see the different structures. So you can see that the ones that have the beautiful, absolutely perfect geometrical shapes come from mostly harmony and love. And our body is 70% water. So we are affecting down not only to the water level, but to the DNA level. And the wavelengths that come off of emotion are at different levels. Fear is a very slow moving wavelength, and love is a faster moving wavelength. But if you look at the DNA structure, you can see that they touch. When they touch with love, they're creating coding sites for growth. So not only does our thoughts and emotions, the states of consciousness that we do in the dream state and in meditation and visualization, they have the ability to affect the water in our body, to affect the DNA structure and create coding sites for growth so that we grow healthy, the telomeres so we become younger. And it goes all the way down to a DNA level. I mean, people from all over the world, indigenous cultures have had this. The Tibetans, the Hopis, the Native Americans, they've kept it with them. It's one of the things that has been throughout history the whole time that these indigenous cultures have been using. It's kind of unfortunate that we don't, so this stuff should be taught in schools. It's kind of unfortunate that we don't really pay attention to it as much as we should. But in my opinion, when you have thousands of lucid dreams and you're able to heal yourself using lucid dreaming and meditation, it's very powerful and very important. And it doesn't really take a lot because you're doing it all the time. And so you just put a little bit of focus on it. Whether or not you're doing it through a trigger and memory, or if you want to get in a little more advanced and start to learn how to do the meditation poses. Dream yoga is simply a meditative pose where you're holding a specific visual meditative pose, whether it's a ball of light in your third eye, or a Tibetan lotus flower in your throat, or you're working with your heart and you're holding a specific pose for long enough, and you wait until the doorway to the dream world opens up, and then you jump through it and go into the dream. But this happens all the time. So as I showed you, you go through these stages of sleep every night, regardless what you're experiencing. Every time that you go in and out of REM and you wake up for a brief second, and you go back in and you're hitting theta, you're going through that doorway to the dream world. Now that doorway to the dream world is very powerful. That's like the doorway to the quantum realm. So we're all stepping into the quantum field all the time naturally when we sleep. We just don't know it. And if you just focus a little bit on it, you're able to do that. This is a place of infinite possibilities where you can basically create whatever that you want to in that place. It's not necessarily going into the dream and having the dream experience. That helps with creating something that you can't do and getting enthused, excited. But it's that doorway right before you go into the actual dream realm that is a very powerful spot. That's the doorway that we use to create whatever we want. Now, basically, when you do that, you want to be in a place of absolute nothingness. Because remember, as soon as you start judging something, as soon as you start thinking about something, you change it. So when you're in that doorway, all you want to do is be in a place of absolute gratitude and unconditional love. and you're changing stuff already. And then you step into the dream and you want to do what it is that, what do you want to be in the future? What is it that your other self that you're not doing? You want to do that. Whether you do it in meditation or you accomplish it in a dream, you go see somebody who's passed away, maybe you confront a nightmare, whatever it is, or you fly to space, you do something absolutely amazing, you come back, wake up, you write it down, you're making huge headways. But it goes even further than that. The brain-heart coherence is a very real thing. Our heart is a huge organ, and it's the largest organ. They thought the brain was, but when the brain and the heart is connected, the field that's around the body, some people think it stems on forever. Some people say it goes on for meters. But this field around the body that we're conditioning through walking through life, through our thoughts and emotions, that we can manipulate and change through our meditation, through our visualization, and especially if you're having lucid dream experiences where you're experiencing stuff that can even be more real than the waking world, because you're doing things that you can't do here. You breathe it underwater, you're flying to space, you're visiting people who maybe passed away. Whatever it is that you're doing, you come back, you're conditioning this field around your body. Now you're walking through life, and that field around your body is attracting and repelling circumstances to you, away from you. And at that time, you are now creating like the waking dream. And at that point, you have the power to manifest your own reality. So it's all kind of connected. And it's a super powerful thing that we all do naturally, that you can do. It's really not as hard as it seems if you just focus on it a little bit. And so I've taught thousands of people to lucid dream. 95% of them all have experiences. And now that you can see, I hope that you understand how powerful some of these things are and get you excited to have your journey in lucid dreaming.